Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Verticus.
Say what?
Charette.
Doc G, what's up, sir?
My goodness. It's a new year.
Yes! It is.
It is a new year. Huge news for you, though.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Day after the show last week, day after Christmas, you and your wife became parents.
Yes.
My Lord. Mike Charette, the dad.
The dad.
How's it feel, Mike?
It feels tiring. Yeah, but it does feel great. It feels great, Doc G.
Good.
I love it, man.
Good.
So far, it's awesome.
Has it changed you already?
I became a fan of Creed.
I knew it.
Not really. That's a stretch.
I knew it.
I texted my dad. I texted my dad a picture of my daughter, and my dad was like, his text back was like, "She's beautiful." He's like, "Listen to Arms Wide Open." And I was like, "By Creed?" He's like, "Yeah."
You were like, what the f is wrong with you, Dad?
I was like, "Okay, this is unironically telling me to listen to Arms Wide Open by Creed." And then I read the lyrics and I was like, "Oh, this is about having a child."
But still.
It's so funny, right? And
with arms wide open.
Cut to 10 minutes later, I'm like driving to get pizza and I'm like, with arms. Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, I love it. Yeah, Creed, I can relate."
So literally, you did become a fan of Creed. Okay.
Yeah, man,
all right.
for sure.
Okay.
With Arms Wide Open, I always used to roast that song and troll. And
now
everything.
you
I
know
was
what
that
it
guy.
means.
But now I'm like, hey, don't pick on Creed.
You know what you feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You've experienced the lyrics, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, man.
Well, let me tell the listeners this, Mike. I know it wasn't a pleasant experience for you.
Well, no, it was not. In other ways.
Yeah,
it was not.
You had a form of a stomach pathogen.
Yes.
Some sort of food poisoning whilst your daughter was being born.
Oh my gosh, yeah, man, it was terrible.
Now we talked about this over text, but it's tough. It's over text. Did this like happen like before your wife went into labor that you knew you were sick, or was it like while she was in labor that all of a sudden you were like, "Oh, sweet Jesus, this is going to be bad"?
It was before.
Okay.
And I wonder if that triggered her a little bit.
She was like, "Now's the time to go. This guy is hurting.
Yeah.
Let's hit
This
it."
guy is in pain.
That is rough.
Yeah.
That is
man.
rough. So not to ruin a moment, because as we know, the Creed's playing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But literally, as your baby was coming into the world, were you like thinking, "I'm gonna throw up"?
I was hunched over, but it was. I think that I think that there was a period of time during that whole process where I overcame the sickness.
Nice.
To be able to have that experience.
Dad power.
Yeah, but I do think that it was still in the background, like, "Oh, we're ready for you." Right as soon as this baby comes out of that body, we are gonna come full force, and by golly, it did, Doc G.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh my God! How long did the fireworks go afterwards? Like how much? Because I know you told me your head was hurting and all that kind of jazz. But how long did particles leave your body?
What?
How long after your child was born? Was that like a good 12 hours?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I would say for the next day or two.
Ugh. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, it wasn't nearly as severe as literally during the pregnancy. That was when it was the most severe. I mean, she was like, yeah, it was.
I always say
it was bad.
I was thinking, Mike, I'm such a hypochondriac, unreasonable worrier that in my head I would have been like, oh crap, it's the baby. That's what's making me nauseous. I'm gonna be like this for the rest of my life until when she comes out. I'm just gonna be dehydrated. I'm gonna die like one of those people on Oregon Trail. No, like, oh my gosh, that was, ugh. But you recovered. You're all good now.
Yeah, man, I'm 100%.
That's it. That's it. And the baby's all good now.
Yeah, the baby's fine.
And your wife's all good now.
Wife is good. Wife is good. Baby's good. Everybody's good. Yeah.
That's solid.
Just now I have a slight, even though I'm like 99.
Haven't got back on the horse yet
sure,
all the way?
99% sure it was norovirus. I am still have a slight distaste for Chinese food. I'm like, oh no.
Anytime there's a pathogen associated with food that you eat, man, doesn't matter if it was necessarily that food or not. When it came back up, it's gonna take you a while to get back on the horse. That's rough. Well, let me ask you something real quick. Has your baby subscribed to the show on either Apple or Spotify yet?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
She has not, Doc G.
Okay, no rush. No, she can do it whenever she gets time. Just keep that in mind. We do need those subscribes.
Definitely will.
Mike, how many hours of sleep have you accomplished the last week?
So I get 2 hours. I go to sleep at 8 and then I wake up at 10. Or no, sorry. So I go to sleep at 10 and then I wake up at 12. And then I'm up usually until about 5 a.m. And then I get another 2. So about 4 hours per day.
Woo, that is some quality sleeping right there.
Nope.
Yeah. But not sustainable, Doctor. I don't know how long this is going to last for.
Well, I was
until I go insane.
Yeah, so next week. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you this, but I feel like I already know now it was you falling in love with Creed. But what is the most unexpected result of having this baby? What do you think? So far, this first week, what was something that you're just like, what? That happened? That's weird.
I am a fan of the Kardashian show.
Girl, come on.
So
I don't know, Mike. I think that was already happened before the baby came. I think that was...
well, yeah, I guess it slightly was, yeah. Because I was kind of... Yeah, we were watching that show. But now I'm, like, totally tuned in. What's the difference?
All the truth is coming out. Creed,
Kardashians, man, I just have trashy taste. Well, yeah, I don't... that's a good question. I guess... Yeah, I just really was surprised. Again, how sustainable this is going to be. But I was surprised at how long I can go with just 1 hour of sleep. You know, like, whoa, I can really go a full day with 1 hour. But again, that's not going to last very long.
Now, if you were writing a review so far of being a dad, what would you give the experience out of 5 stars?
Yeah, I'd give it about 4.5. Let's be honest.
Okay. There's some downsides.
I'd give it 4.5.
You're not going to give it a 5-er. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
no. It's
maybe in the future it'll get up there. You'll come back, you'll write a second review, and you'll be like 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for.
For sure. I mean, I think that the review, the rating will go up.
Okay.
But it's not going to reach 5.
It's never going to be perfect.
It's going to get to about a 4.8, I think, max.
Hey, I like it, Mike. The motto of this show, lower your expectations and you won't be disappointed. I like it.
No way.
I like it. Mike, are you ready to fire up this show that is full?
Let's fire up.
That is full of parenting advice.
let's fire up this 5-star show, Doc G. 5-star parenting advice show.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
There is no advice on this show, but
Nope.
it is 2025.
It is.
And here is my promise to the listeners. The Doc G Show is going to be better than it was in 2024. Woohoo!
Facts.
Not a lot better, but a little.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a marathon, listeners. It's not a sprint. We've been going for 8.5 years. If we were just to make this huge jump in 1 year, come on. So we're going to be better. We're not going to be a lot better, you know? I mean, think about that, Mike. 8.5 years. We've been doing this roughly 442 times longer than your daughter has been alive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's how long this show has been going on. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it is.
But, man, we are
Put
starting.
it that way.
But we're starting off the year with a great artist, Days to Waste. Fantastic guy, straight out of Portland, Oregon. Can't wait to talk to him. It's going to be a good time. But first, we're going to start where we start.
Birthday suits.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Mike, I've got 2 musical artists I don't think you'll get. And a historical figure, maybe.
That I also probably will.
So we'll see. First one here, born on January 1st, 2000. Our birthday suit wearer grew up mostly with her grandparents. Our birthday suit wearer got into rap around the age of 7. She was inspired to become a rapper after hearing Nicki Minaj rap for the first time. She started actually rapping when she was in college. In 2020, she met the producer Riot USA, who produced her debut single, Bully Freestyle. Then they released Name of Love, which gained traction on SoundCloud and other streaming services. In 2022, she released Munch. In 2023, she released an EP. In 2023, she also was on the remix of Taylor Swift's song Karma. She ended up with 5 top 5 singles in 2023. In 2024, she went on her headlining tour, Y2K. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Yeah, no idea. I ain't gonna waste any time.
Ice Spice, Mike.
Ice Spice.
Ice
Heard the name.
Spice. You know the name, right?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I've heard the name.
Yeah, a couple of things on Ice Spice there, Mike. First of all, when I was writing the info there for Ice Spice, I was taking a gander at the old Wikipedia, of course. And in her background info, it says, like when it's talking about her getting into rapping and hearing rap for the first time, it says French Montana. You know French Montana?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says French Montana used to visit her elementary school when Ice was in the 4th grade.
Word.
And then it just moves on. And I was just like, I'm sure it was for altruistic reasons. But I was like, could you give us a little bit more of why he's just going to elementary schools?
Where was this at, by the way? Where was her elementary school?
In New York, in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just like, should at least be like for charity purposes or to teach music or like something. Like it's just like it just makes me think that he's just standing in the corner. It's like, oh hey, there's French Montana. That's weird, right? He's handing out lollipops. I don't know why that is. Like, it's just sort of strange.
Yeah.
Also, do you know her actual name? I'm guessing not, since you didn't know her stage name.
No.
But her actual name is Isis Gaston.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Now, I'm guessing, I didn't really look into this a lot, but I'm guessing Isis, her parents chose Isis because it's a Egyptian goddess, right? It's like the highest Egyptian goddess.
ISIS, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, she chose her stage name Ice Spice in freshman year of high school. That was like she started going by Ice Spice then, right around 2014. And I couldn't help but notice, Mike, that's the exact same time ISIS, the terrorist group, became known, like worldwide. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, because at first, like, if you don't have that association, ISIS sounds like a pretty cool rap name. Like,
yeah, it does.
You would go with that. But like after the terrorist group gets known, they're like, please welcome to the stage, ISIS. What? Who?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't work. Doesn't work.
No.
So she had to go with Ice Spice.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, again, Ice Spice is nice. You know?
Yeah. Ice Spice
Works.
is nice.
Yeah, it works. There you go. Turning Mike, big 2-5. 2-5 for Ice Spice. There we go. Nice. New Year's Day. Good stuff. Mike, you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Mike, I've got a headline from the Wall Street Journal. Here we go. Flying was already the worst. Then America stopped using headphones. Don't get me wrong, Mike. You know, and I'm sure listeners of the show know, I'm not a super fan of flying.
No.
But I will say, flying isn't the worst.
Nope.
People are the worst.
Yeah.
People are what make flying horrible. The act of flying didn't stop using headphones. People stopped using headphones. Like, there are so many things you could put on this list of stuff people do that make flying horrible, Mike. Like, propose to their girlfriends. Have you ever been a part of that horse?
No, I have not.
I
On a
have,
plane?
Mike. On a flight. I'm just trying to make it from one destination to another. And this dude decides to force everyone on the plane to be a part of his bad decision. Right? Flying is not the worst. People are the worst.
They are, yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, I'm super excited about 2025. It's going to be a fantastic
me
year.
Too. Can't wait.
Can't wait. So many good things with people not involved in flying.
For sure.
Anywho,
For sure.
Mike, I got a headline from Complex. You know, we like Complex from every.
Oh, we do.
You know, quote: Common on Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, greatest battle we've ever seen. End quote. I don't know. I don't know, Mike. You know, let's not be prisoners of the moment here, Common.
So true.
You know, it was a good rap battle. You know, but let's keep in mind there was a rap battle where both participants were murdered. Like, in terms of battles, that's pretty up there. Good point. Also, Common, he said this, Mike. Common said this in the article. Common said, "Not Like Us," the song, of course, very popular song, was on everyone's radar and effectively forced people to pay closer attention to K. Dot's messages. Hey, what messages, Mike? Like, I gotta say, I took a look at those lyrics. I looked at them more than once, and I'm finding it hard to find more of a meaning than Drake, he's a pedophile.
Okay, so nothing about UFOs, anything?
No, nothing else.
Any secret
there were no
meanings
other, like, I was like, am I missing a calculus lesson in the second?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just saying, like, don't get me wrong. Kendrick has songs that have all kinds of messages. Not that one. That one, Drake. That was the message. So
that was the message.
Unless I'm just dumb. Maybe I missed
Have you tried playing it in reverse?
That's true. Backtrack it. I gotta backtrack it. You're right, Mike. God. Okay, I gotta get the vinyl version. There we go. Mike, I've got one from Entertainment Weekly. This news was really popular around the Christmas holiday. I don't know if you actually saw this or not, Mike, but quote, how the heck did the Home Alone parents afford that house? We now know.
Yeah. Okay. I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got?
Well, first of all, Mike, I got to say thank God, right?
Yes.
Because that was the only unbelievable thing in that movie.
Yeah,
You know?
pretty much.
Not that a 9-year-old successfully kept robbers from stealing everything in the house for a week straight or something. No, that's obvious. But how did they get this house? Can we figure this out? It's important. Anywho, the director of the movie, Chris Columbus, he had an interview with Hollywood Reporter and let them know that the reason they could afford that house, the backstory, Mike, the mother was a successful fashion designer and the father was in advertising.
Okay.
Yeah. And he clarified for Hollywood Reporter, it wasn't because the dad was in organized crime, despite some fan theories going around online.
Huh?
Organized crime.
Yeah, organized crime. Who the made that point, Mike? Why would that be in the movie in the first part? Why would they have the dad in Home Alone part of organized crime and then not allude to it in any of the movies? In the first movie, in the second movie, never actually do it. What are they planning on, coming out with a third movie where the dad dies and Kevin has to take over as the mob boss? And they're like, no, Kevin's the Godfather now. There we go. This is the dumbest I've ever heard,
Yeah, it is
Mike.
pretty stupid. I don't know. Maybe the kid, his just skills for setting up traps and misguiding people.
It's all coming from the mob.
Yeah.
The old
it's
mob
all-
secrets.
all passed down.
I just, who's having a hard time following that movie, though? Because they're like, could they really afford this house? I can't take this anymore. This is not believable. It's just, that's the one thing. They had the director, and they wanted to know that. That was it.
Yeah. Well, they are in Chicago, right? I mean, this is
Chicago.
Illinois.
Chicago.
So true.
Mike, I've got a headline from All Recipes. Quote,
Okay.
I asked 4 chefs for the best fast food burger, and 2 chains dominated.
Who are they?
Before I get to who dominated, Mike,
Yes.
can you really say dominated when you have a sample size of 4?
No.
I mean, I'm sure they got half. But if you flip a coin 2 times and it lands on heads once, do you say heads dominated? No. Mike, I read this, and spoiler alert, nobody really dominated.
Nope.
2 chefs like 2 different, they like 2 of the same places. So there were 4 chefs, and 2 of them said they liked 2 of the same place. And then 2 of the other chefs just had their own picks.
Okay.
So essentially you could say nobody dominated, So the 2 that the 2 chefs were Shake Shack and In-N-Out Burger. Those are, and obviously, if they're liking Shake Shack and In-N-Out Burger, they've got a type. They like a particular burger.
That's a really good point. Yeah. There are similarities.
Yeah. There's a lot of course it's a smash burger. It's very thin. You've got a potato style bun. Come on. Now,
Interesting.
the other chefs, Mike, said Culver's one. Have you ever had a Culver's burger?
Oh, no, I haven't.
That's a straight up Midwest thing right there.
They do have them in the South, though, the Southeast. Oh, so it's originated in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a super Midwesterner. And then the last one, they sort of went classic, Mike. Not super classic. They didn't go McDonald's, but they went Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Wendy's. That's for sure. They got some good burgers.
All beef, never frozen, man.
Yeah.
It's the square burger.
Oh man, I love.
Get a single, get a double, get a triple. But my take-home point is, hey, all recipes, specifically Carla, who wrote this article, nobody dominated. Look at your results, okay? Don't give us a fake headline. Jeez. Mike, I've got a Daily Mail headline here. You know they're always filled with important info.
Of course.
Tyson, 58, has heartbreaking revelation 1 month from Paul loss. Now, Mike, the revelation that he had is basically he's depressed because he's not fighting.
Aw.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. He said, quote, the fight's over. Boom. Wow. I'm kind of depressed. A little bit. We've got to get back into our living situation. Back to living.
Yeah.
It sounds like we just need to send Tyson out there into the ring until somebody kills him.
That's a fact.
I mean, he seems like that guy, Mike. It sounds bad, but that's sort of what he wants to do, apparently. So.
Oh, there's another Tyson fight on the way. There's got to be, right?
I hope not. Not with the.
I think he'll probably bring somebody into the ring he can beat, or something.
He's a guy that needs to die on the Shield, Mike. Apparently, but. This doesn't have anything to do with the revelation, but it was in the article, Mike. It goes back to the health scare he had before the fight.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking about it in an interview, and he says, I was in the bathroom throwing up blood. I asked the doctor, am I going to die? And he said, we have options. What the fuck does that mean, Mike? Options? I don't think this doctor knew what the definitions of options is.
Nope.
Because if there's an option for not dying, I think most people are choosing that option. Like, we got options. You want to die? Yeah, let's put that in there. No, I don't. That's why I was asking. Like, what is option? Like, what is? Who is this doctor? Horrible. Horrible, Mike. Mike, I've got a little sports news from SB Nation. Quote, Draymond Green says he had to punch Jordan Poole to learn not to punch teammates. They do say experience is the best teacher, Mike.
Yeah.
But some things you should already know. You know? Like Draymond's comment is like saying,
people.
well, yeah, you shouldn't punch people. Like, Draymond's comment is like saying, I had to have sex with my sister to learn not to have sex with my sister.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Everybody else knew not to do that. We
know this is bad.
We were pretty clear on it. Like,
yeah,
come on. You didn't have, you know where he said this too, Mike? On the Anthony Hardaway podcast.
The Anthony Hardaway podcast. He has a podcast?
I had no idea, but yes, he does.
I've seen some clips. I've been seeing some clips here and there.
2 cents. 2 cents is the name of the podcast.
2 cents. Interesting.
I guess it's, I would suggest, I don't know, maybe they just shortened it in the article I was reading, Mike, but I would suggest pennies 2 cents. Because then, it's like it's the anomaly of a penny,
I like
2 cents.
Yeah. It's just interesting because he was not like really an outspoken guy.
No, he's pretty quiet.
Yeah, he's the quiet guy.
And you're like, oh, so now you're gonna chat. Okay. I'm sure it's doing better than ours. I'm not jealous. It's fine. Mike, I've got another important one from All Recipes. Quote. Canadian bacon versus ham. What's the difference? Mike, you know the answer?
No, I guess I don't. I don't.
It's a pretty quick answer.
Okay.
Different part of the pig.
Different part of the pig. Yes. Okay.
Canadian bacon, also known as back bacon, because it comes from the backside of the pig, the loin.
All right. Right.
Now, you may be asking yourself, what's the difference between pork loin and Canadian bacon? Nothing, except Canadian bacon is cured, and pork loin is not cured.
Okay. Where's the ham come from, Talk G?
the old hip.
The hip.
The leg.
Okay.
The leg.
Okay.
So, to sum this all up, Mike, American bacon is still definitely better than ham or Canadian bacon, which are not the same thing.
Wait, what's the difference between American bacon and Canadian bacon?
Oh, come on, Mike. That's rookie stuff right there.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
American bacon is the belly of the pig. That's why it's so fat. That's why you got so much fat in it. Whereas Canadian bacon's back here on the back. You got more muscle.
Oh. Okay, so
essentially, Canadian bacon is like in the same area of the pig that a ribeye is in a cow.
Okay. All right. And then what would be
There's no equivalent.
There is no.
There's no equivalent for the American bacon for a cow.
Okay. So then is pork belly the uncured version of American bacon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Doc G, we can move on.
You feel better now, though, right?
Thank you.
I
had no idea.
You might take an apprenticeship up at a butcher.
That's so funny.
It's good. It was good. I'm glad we've got this across now. Listeners, are you good?
That's a clip. That's a clip right there, Doc.
Are you good? You good? Organized rambling, Mike. It's what we do.
This is what we do. This is what this show is.
Mike, I've got an article from Inverse. You ever do Inverse?
Well, Doc G, I do a little bit of inversing sometimes.
Yeah? Huh? It's it's a popular media site.
Okay.
You're like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that at all.
Not that kind of inversing. I don't know what I'm talking about, Doc G.
You're sleep deprived. It's fine.
Just
Quote,
a little bit.
Peacock just quietly added the most underrated historical revenge epic of the decade. Mike, that's the most particular subgenre I've ever heard. Like, Peacock just quietly added the most underrated character romantic dark comedy from the third week of 2012. Was there was more than one at that time? I also got to ask, if that was the most underrated, Mike, what was the most rated of the decade? Do they have that movie? Because I'd like to see the one that was rated well, you know? But in case you were wondering, Mike, what the most underrated historical revenge epic was The Northman. Did you see The Northman?
No.
Yeah, neither did I. Yeah, I remember. I do clearly remember the previews for this movie, Mike. The previews, you know, it is a revenge epic. Supposed to be a Viking. He comes back. He gets torn away from his homeland. Somebody takes it over. He's the king's son or something. And then he comes back and he kills everybody and takes back over.
Okay.
You know. That kind of deal. I remember seeing the previews and being like, that's a lot of blood and snow. Wow. You know, and just me thinking, I would need a coat if I were that guy.
That's a fact.
If I were going on this rampage, I would need a much bigger fur coat. It looks very chilly out there to be shirtless. No thank you. But whoever that guy was, ripped. So
yeah, freaking jacked.
So congratulations to him. Mike, I've got a headline from People. Quote, Mariah Carey reveals her thoughts on twins Rock and Row pursuing careers in the entertainment industry. Mike, you know Rock and Row?
Are they the children of Nick Cannon?
Yes. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
These are the two kids that she had with Nick Cannon, who has 478 kids.
Yes.
I'm kidding. It's 12. It's a reasonable 12. Yeah. So she had two kids with him. That was it. And it's Rock and Row. And they are twins, apparently. Mike, she said, quote, I think they're both very talented and smart. And if they want to pursue having a life as an entertainer, then I think they should. End quote. Mike, I'm gonna jump in here and say, don't. Rock and Row, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I'm gonna be. Don't do what your mom does. You're always gonna be Mariah Carey's kids if you're gonna be singers. That is who you're gonna be. Let's use a basketball example. Bronny James. What's the first thing people think of? LeBron's kid. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's all they're ever gonna think of him. Like, now, if your mom wasn't a super famous singer, I'd say do it. If she was like Lisa Loeb, I'd be like, yeah, I think you can be a singer. But I got bad news for you. Your mom's not Lisa Loeb. She's Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Your mom has sold more records than any female artist ever. That's a fact, Mike.
Wow, I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you do what you got to do, guys. But I'm just saying, that's a tough hill to climb.
More than T Swift? More than Billie Eilish?
Well, you got to remember, those are streams, Mike. Those aren't albums. That's not records.
That was when, it's like, what an antiquated sort of, measurement for
now.
But it is still a fact. I mean, obviously she sold more records, but that was at a time when people, bought records.
Yeah, you look at, it's a pretty amazing thing about T Swift is like, she's like, I don't know, like 25th on the list or something of all time record sales. And you're like, holy crap, and nobody buys them anymore.
Yeah,
it's insane.
With the population growth and everything since Mariah Carey is, well, I don't know what it is, but
it's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
but I put Lisa Loeb in there. You remember Lisa Loeb, Mike?
Oh yeah, she was a WNBA player in the '90s. Oh wait, no. Why do I feel like
Rebecca Lobo? Lobo, and I think you're thinking of it because she was always associated with Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie came into the WNBA at the same time that Rebecca Lobo did. So maybe you put them together.
Just some 90s WNBA players I feel like I vaguely remember. Anyways, Doc G.
Lisa Loeb did the song Stay. If you don't, she did the song. She had horn rim glasses, and she did the song. So I turn the radio on, I turn the radio up, and this woman was singing my song. Lovers in love, and that's it. That's her.
I love that song.
You say.
Oh yeah, and that her music video, random fact, was shot in one take.
Ethan Hawke filmed it too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We brought in double facts for that, Mike.
Nice. It was all one take though, right?
Yeah.
Am I remembering? Yeah.
Okay. And it features Ethan Hawke's cat too.
Say what?
Love it.
I know this thanks to pop-up video. There you go.
What a great way to watch music videos, by the way.
Jam of 1994 right there, kids.
Yeah.
If you want to get in your feels, you can do it with that jam.
But they're not going to be the same feels as Doc G and I.
No.
Because
it's also not going to be the same feels as Creed. So don't try it.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same feels at all. Okay?
Nope.
Mike, we need to take a break, but we are going to hear from our guest. This is Days to Waste right here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show, Spinnaker Radio, WSKR LP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do the listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should.
And they do.
They should please subscribe to the show wherever they consume their podcasts. Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. We're on YouTube, Spotify. Please subscribe to the show and please leave us a 5-star review.
There we go. Yes! 5 stars. Now, Mike, I've got a couple things about this whole subscription thing. Apparently, I was doing some research. And apparently we're doing this call to arms of the listeners at the wrong time. Apparently you're supposed to do this in the first 60 seconds because they're not going to do it if you do it later in the show.
Oh.
And you know what? That, Mike.
Yeah.
I have faith in our listeners that they will be motivated enough to like the show at a later time. That's what I say, Mike. So far, it hasn't happened, but I think they're going to do it. Now, I've got a couple of gripes, Mike. A couple of things about subscribing to the show that I need to bring up. As a New Year's resolution, Mike, I made a mission of mine to get the show more love on Spotify.
Yes!
You know? Because I was like, hey, we've got YouTube a-going. We've got Apple. We've had Apple a-going. We've got SoundCloud a-going. Let's get Spotify a-going. You know? We need to be properly represented on the platform.
Yeah.
So, I was chatting with a friend about this goal of getting the show a little bit more prominence on Spotify. And they were like, while I was talking to them, they're like, hey, I use Spotify. I'll follow you on there. You know? Side note, I was a little offended that they weren't already following. But, you know, that's aside from the... They were like, I'll follow you. And I was like, hey, what the man? Like, come on. But... You know, a couple of minutes later, she's like, hey, I can't find your show. And I was like, what are you talking about? Just search the Doc G show. She's like, I did. I'm not seeing anything. And I was like, yeah, give me your phone, you know? And so I took her phone and I looked at I put in the Doc G show. I thought maybe, you know, she didn't know how to type and maybe she put in like, you know, basketball podcast. And I was like, well, that's completely wrong. That was your first mistake. That's not my show. You know? So I put in the Doc G show, and what comes up? Nothing about our show, Mike.
What?
Nothing. I looked at the list. There were literally 500 shows that came up before ours. Because I put it on there, and I was like, okay, I know our show is on Spotify, and I know I just put in the Doc G show. I'm going to keep going down this list until I actually find our show. And it was literally hundreds into it before I found our show. Here's a couple of podcasts that came up before ours, Mike. The China Show with Winston and Matt.
Huh?
How? How is that the Doc G show? Gunsmoke came up before our show.
Wow.
Into the Fog with Peter Laws.
Huh?
What the is that? How does a person put in the Doc G show and they're like, oh, you must mean Into the Fog with Peter Laws? No, that is not what I mean. Like, Mike, if a person knows what they want, at least give them a chance to see it.
That's a fact.
Like, that's like going on the Maps app on your phone, typing in Popeyes, and every restaurant in your city popping up except for Popeyes. Oh, I see where the McDonald's is. I see where Panda Express is. I see where Panera is. I have no Popeyes.
Nope.
Why? Why is that your search engine, Spotify? I'm sorry, I needed to get that off my chest.
Yeah, well, hey, it's frustrating.
But let me tell you something, Mike. It's going to be at the top.
That's right.
Mark my words. Before the end of 2025, when you put in the Doc G show on Spotify, it is going to be at the top. Probably not anymore now that I said this. Spotify's going to go through with AI here and be like, oh,
Demoted.
5,000 down. There you go.
Now you're at 5,000.
Exactly. Another thing I need to get off my chest about this,
We have
Mike.
Lisa Lobo. You say before you get to this Doc G show.
Lisa Loeb, Mike.
Lisa Loeb.
Lisa
That's
Loeb.
right. That's right.
Another thing I got to get off my chest about this, Mike. While I was talking to the initial friend, talking to them, another friend texted me while I was in this conversation in person. The friend that texted me knows the other friend that I was talking to in person. And I told them what was going down. I was like, hey, trying to get my numbers on Spotify up. They're helping me out right now. And can you believe this? We're super low on the search. What's that all about? Right? Unprovoked, the friend that texted me said, hey, I'll follow your show and give it a 5-star rating. And I said, cool, that's real nice. That's what friends are for, Again, a little offended that they weren't already following the show and giving it a 5-star rating, but whatever. And I get a text message back from that friend that said, just did it.
Sweet.
Mike, I had the analytics page up from Spotify when they told me this. Nothing changed. They did not follow the show. They did not give me a 5-star rating. And I know it automatically uploads because the other friend, I saw it change automatically when they did that. So, bottom line, Mike, this
Locked
friend
and
is
unfriended.
Yes, exactly. This friend is going to Mike, all right? I'd be worried they may hear this, but obviously they won't hear it, so let me reiterate. They are going to That is it.
Hilarious.
Okay. Last thing I got to get off my chest, Mike. I was cruising through podcasts the other day, and they're a little scant at this time of year because, nobody's putting out new shows, unlike the Doc G Show, who is putting out new shows, but I digress. I came across the Conan show there, Mike. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
Of course.
Great podcast. I love it. I listened to a lot of the episodes on there. And they had a clip show, something we do on this show. Mm-hmm. They had the best things that happened on the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast throughout 2024. And I came across one of their clips during the show that I missed. I didn't actually hear it when it was on the show. And the reason I didn't hear it, Mike, is because it was an ad. That was what they were actually, the best of was an ad for a product. And I never listened to the ads. I just fast forward right through them until I get to the actual show. And Mike, Conan took something near and dear to our hearts and stole it for his show. It was an ad of Conan reading for a bidet toilet seat, Mike. Girl, come on. Yeah. It was 5 minutes of them acting like they were the only podcast who talks about bidets.
Blam.
I was so offended, Mike.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys don't have the market on this. In fact, you didn't make it at all. All right? At one point in the clip, he sees in the ad that it says over 5,000 5-star reviews, and he's like, who would review a bidet? And I was like, excuse me, sir. We've reviewed the reviews on this show. Because this is a bidet-friendly show, Mike.
It is. It's pro-bidet. Very pro-bidet.
Obviously, we have been supporting bidets for far longer than Conan's show.
That's a fact.
And we didn't even need the company's money, Mike.
Nope.
We supported bidets without any company's money.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
And Lux Bidets, that was the brand, Mike. Shame on you for not doing your research and coming to the Doc G show first.
For real.
Now, along with that, though, Mike, I will say we did push Tushy a lot more.
So true.
That was sort of our go-to brand, was Tushy. So, with that being said, Tushy, we've been promoting you for a year and a half now. Let's go in. Let's crush the opposition. Let's take it to Conan. Let's take it to Lux. Tushy all the way. That's what I'm saying.
Love you, Tushy.
We love you, Tushy. And we love bidets in general.
We do.
And I'd like to say, for the record, I as we've said on the show before, I'm sure there were podcasts before us that did bidet stuff, but we were before Conan. Before Conan.
Way before Conan.
Anywho, Mike, with all that being said, you know who knows all of what we were just talking about? The 5-star listeners.
They do.
They know it.
They know
because
it.
they've heard it. Yes! They've heard it for the last I don't know how long. However long they've been listening. At least a couple of years. Some of them, almost 8.5 years. And we tip the cap to those people. Here we go, Mike. Shout out to Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil, San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Richardson, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Peoria, Illinois.
Ooh, 5 out of 5 right there,
Thank
Doc
you.
G. That was great.
Thank you. You know what got me fired up? All those comments I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I put all my rage of Spotify and Conan's podcast into saying their names. And you know what? Shout out to you, 5-star listeners.
Thank you.
Shout out to you.
We appreciate you.
I see you. Shout out. I don't physically see you, but I see you in my thoughts. I close my eyes and I see the 5-star listeners.
Yeah.
And it makes my heart full.
Word.
I don't know what that means. But thanks, guys. Thank you for listening. Mike, 4-star listens. 4-star listens.
What do we got?
Got a good amount of listens from Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Camp Hill.
Yeah. That's right. That's basically that's
Where is that?
Harrisburg,
Harrisburg.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. Capital of Pennsylvania. Yeah. Mm. Anyways, shout out to Camp Hill. We really appreciate it.
Shout
Des Moines, Iowa. Mike, shout out to Des Moines. New Orleans, Louisiana. Shout out to New Orleans. Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to Phoenix. Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, I love Vero Beach.
Yeah. Tampa, Florida. And then it's in the same vicinity as Tampa, but they had a good amount of listens, so I'm going to take it out. Port Richey as well. Mumbai. Statesville, North Carolina. Kellysville, California. Had to look up Kellysville, Mike. It's like 50 miles in from the coast and like 100 miles from San Francisco, north. Sort of in the middle of nowhere. So shout out to you, Kelseyville.
Yeah,
we appreciate
thank you.
Houston, Texas. And lastly, Paris, France. There we go. Shout out to all the listeners. We appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. And you know what? We're going to bring in new listeners.
Yeah, we are.
That's it. We're bringing in new listeners. Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back with Days to Waste right here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to have a fantastic artist who just released a new single, Dancing in the Rain. He's got a new album coming out January 24th. Mr. Ben Willey, better known as Days to Waste. Ben, how's it going?
You know, it's going pretty good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. So I'm excited about the new single. Sounds amazing. The new album coming out very soon. But before we get to the new material, I always like to take the listeners back. So you're a Portland guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah. Been in Oregon my whole life and around the Portland area. Yeah.
Nice. What's the best thing about Portland?
Well, I'd say the best thing about where I live is just like the weather, I think, because we get all the seasons, and it's definitely nice to experience rain, snow, autumn,
I will say I'm a fan of how green everything usually is in the summer.
It's very green here, and there's lots of like big trees, and I don't know. I there's lots of like bodies of water area, like rivers.
Yeah.
And, you know, the beach is an hour that way, and you know, the Mount Hood is like an hour that way, and just the scenery of Oregon and where I live has just always been very
Yeah, Pacific Northwest has some really good nature, but I gotta be honest, the 50s and raining for you know a lot of the winter and whatnot, it's a little tough on me, man. It's a little tough.
Yeah, it's been raining for the past week or so, but the sun's out right now, so that's something.
Take it when you can get it, man.
Yeah.
Take it when you can get it.
I'm so used to it, you know. It doesn't really bug me anymore. I actually I really like the rain. I like walking in the rain.
You know, it's I like a switch up, but I have noticed if I am in it for too long, I'm like, I need some sun. I need some sun.
Near around February, March, I get to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm ready for summer. This is getting ridiculous.
Well, now if we talk music, you started out as part of the church. That's where music started.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I grew up in a very evangelical home. Yeah.
How religious are we talking? Like as far as the home, 1 to 10?
100%. Or 10. I mean, like the whole nine. Like going to church every Sunday, going to Sunday school, going to youth group every Thursday night. I led worship my whole life, so very, very enveloped in the church for sure.
So you joined the church band at 8?
8 years old, yeah. I really, when I was really young, I was obsessed with drums, and I really wanted to learn how to play drums. And I think the first time I played drums on my worship team, I was 10 years old, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, did you just naturally, you know, have like a gift for drums, or did you start taking lessons or learn from somebody, or?
Yeah, my dad said that because he would clean the church every once in a while, and I'd go with him just to hang out, and sometimes I'd get behind the drum set and just start like banging around, and my dad said that, you know, there was like some kind of like a natural rhythm there, you know, like I guess I just kind of understood, you know, I listen to music all the time, and it's something I just kind of naturally understood was a beat. And then after that I started taking lessons, and you know, it all.
Now when you took drum lessons, were you the person that was like obsessed with every detail, or was it like, nah, I want to play music?
Yeah, I just wanted to play the drums. I didn't care about every little detail.
No rudiments. You weren't obsessed with it.
I was obsessed with it in the sense of I just really, really enjoyed doing it. But yeah. As far as I was like, I want to be the best drummer in the world. Like, nah, not really. I just really wanted to play the drums.
Well, now, and so the whole time that you were in the church band, was it drums the whole time you were in it?
No, it started out as drums, and then I kind of did that for a couple years, and then I was like, man, I want to learn how to play the guitar, and then I learned guitar from that same person, and then, you know, started from guitar to playing guitar and singing, and I was I played guitar for longer than I played the drums. Yeah.
Now, I know, so, I mean, obviously, when you started out, it was all church music, all Christian music. I know, I have heard you bring up a lot the Warped Tour. Was that like, what was the first thing outside of church music? Was it the Warped Tour that you first heard?
I would say, yeah, it went from church music to like bands like Mercy Me, Hawk Nelson, Reliant K, all those Christian rock bands, which are still amazing, by the way. I still listen to those bands. I found bands like I hate to say it, like Black Veil Brides. I listened to Black Veil Brides for a little bit, and Asking Alexandria, and Skylit Drive, and Sleeping with Sirens, and Pierce the Veil, and I just found this whole new world of like, oh my god, this is everything I've ever been looking for. And that was my entire life. Yeah.
Nice. Well, you mentioned, so it was around like 12 that you picked up the guitar.
Yeah.
And like it seemed like sort of a natural progression, at least from the little I got, that from playing that guitar to like, I'm gonna write a song.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty ambitious as a kid. I don't know if I saw something and I was really interested in that thing, my brain was just like, oh, I could do that, even if it was bad, which it was. You know, I learned a few chords on the guitar, and I remember I wrote my first like actual song and recorded it on Audacity and put it out when I was like barely 13. I may have even still been 12, and I put it on YouTube. It doesn't exist anymore, so you can't find it. But I mean, yeah,
gotta scratch the record of that one.
yeah, just don't even bother. But yeah, it was very, very quick from picking up a guitar to being like, all right, I want to be a musician.
Well, now you mentioned like, you know, guitar and singing, and I heard you say at like one point in time, as far as the singing, you were like singing in your room, and your mom came in like, is that you singing? Like,
Yeah.
was that sort of the turn? Like, had you already made the decision before your mom told you that, hey, you can sing? Had you already made the decision like, I'm gonna sing regardless?
That was actually before I was like, ooh, I could do this. I think that's what may have inspired me. Because I didn't think I could sing. I wasn't trying to be good at singing, you know.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, I guess taken aback.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. My family is full of musicians and singers, and it's always just been kind of, I guess, in our blood, I guess. And so,
well, in hindsight, you should have been like, come on, that wasn't too surprising.
Yeah, you should know this.
It runs in the family. Well, now I heard like sort of the jump. So going from, like you said, sort of playing the music, singing songs, and then writing your own song, and then being like, I could do this as sort of a career or lifetime aspirations. Like randomly you see, like, I think it was a Brian Starr's interview.
Yeah.
And basically they're like you just said, like, I could do this.
Yeah, it was a Brian Starr's interview. Well, it was lots of Brian Starr's interviews. It's kind of like a binge thing. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was in 7th grade, I really, really wanted to be in a band, and that was kind of my goal. And I was I'm gonna play drums for my band. But I mean, I didn't really have any friends around who were kind of in that same realm
Musical, ready to go.
Yeah, and it was just kind of me. And I was watching an interview with Brian Starrs and this and this kid called Catching Your Clouds, and so I looked him up afterwards, or maybe I found his music and then the interview. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But his songs were recorded. The quality is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it was recorded in his room on like a Guitar Hero USB microphone with a MIDI keyboard and his acoustic guitar. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could do this just by yourself and then put it out. And yeah, so that was a very pivotal moment for me, is realizing, oh my gosh, I could just do this by myself.
This kind of thing is allowed. Awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
Well, now, was that like right, essentially, when you turned around and were like, okay, starting a YouTube page, here we go?
Kinda. Yeah, it was kind of like, all right, let's get it.
Nice.
He can do it, so let's just start.
Now, I think when you first started like putting out stuff, it was mostly covers, right?
I'd say it was 100% covers. Yeah.
Nice. And mainly acoustic. It was the acoustic idea basically like, well, I don't really know how to record the other stuff.
Not really. It was very much like, I want to be an acoustic artist, because at that time, Catching Your Clouds was an acoustic artist, and then I found other artists like Say We Can Fly, This Wildlife, Never Shout Never, and then I was obsessed with like, oh my gosh, there's this whole acoustic genre in my scene, in this Warped Tour scene,
Yeah.
acoustic emo music, and that's what I wanted to do. It was make
Gotcha.
acoustic.
Gotcha. Now, have you ever noticed, since you've been on YouTube for this this like almost 10-year period, have you noticed like long time subscribers, like ones that have been there basically since the beginning, that you're like,
Oh yeah.
wow, these people have been listening to me for like a decade.
Oh, absolutely. I still get comments to this day, people being like, I used to just watch you when you were doing covers on YouTube.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
pretty
crazy to
awesome,
see.
right?
It's crazy to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like, that's not who I am anymore. I'm not the YouTuber who
Yeah.
does covers. I'm very much something else.
Yeah, artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was taking a gander there at the old top 5 listening locations on Spotify, and I don't know if you noticed, but Jakarta, Indonesia is on there, and then Sydney, Australia, and
Yeah.
Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
Does it like, I mean, I talk about this a pretty good amount, but every now and then, like because we give shout outs every single week of like whoever is in the top 25 of listening of the show, as far as the podcast version of the show. And sometimes I just sit there and I go, really? A person's listening from there? That's wild. Wow.
Yeah, it's impossible to wrap your head around. It's impossible to comprehend. I still can't comprehend it. It doesn't feel real, that imposter syndrome thing of being like, I did this by myself. I just started making music in my room. Like, I have a job. Like, I got home from school, like all these different things, and now there's someone in Indonesia who's like, I love your music. I'm like, what do you mean you love my music? That doesn't make any sense. And it's crazy, and I'm so unbelievably grateful. I mean, it's such a blessing.
Do you think, I mean, do you have those sort of aspirations later on of like touring these places, performing live in these places?
That would be incredible. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do like a world tour, or a European tour, an Asian tour. That'd be so crazy, because I want to travel. That's a big aspiration of mine, and what a better excuse,
2 birds, 1 stone. It's nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, like, so when you first started making songs, it had to be, you had to have obviously way less experience than you do now. And do you look back at some of those first songs and see the way that like you edit and produce, like back in like 2015, and you're like, whew, I did not know a lot back then.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh god. So I would record to not this microphone, but the same. It's the same microphone, just like you can't see this microphone right here. The same brand, just a different version. It's still in my closet, and I've used it up until March of this year is when I got this new one, and I got that. My dad got me that microphone when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
And it was for my birthday, and he had this PreSonus audio interface laying around, and he gave that to me. And he's a big music guy, so he had all the cables and stuff and the guitars, and so yeah, I had this microphone, and this is what I would use. I wouldn't do anything like MIDI, I wouldn't do anything like that. I wouldn't grab samples. Everything I made, I recorded into this microphone, and it was pretty terrible. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know why I didn't think to, excuse me. I don't know why I didn't think to like look up YouTube tutorials about mixing and recording. I don't know. I didn't really understand it, but I would use this free program called Audacity, and I would just record the guitar, record the vocals, put them together, throw some reverb on there, call it good. And
I mean, I always think it's one of those things. I mean, obviously, you were more focused on the songs. You were more focused on writing and making the music than you were on the fine touches, the shiny product at the end. And you know, it's one of those things that I say all the time, but a good song's a good song. Like if like you record it with one mic and a guitar and it sounds great, then well, obviously when you put a bunch of effects on it, it's just going to sound better. Like it's
I mean, like, yeah, like I said, that guy that I saw on the Brian Stars recorded all of his songs like with a Guitar Hero USB microphone and you know, MIDI keyboard, and I'd listen to those songs a lot. Like I would still listen to those songs to this day. I mean, like, they're great songs.
Yeah. Well, now, so you started making these covers. You started the YouTube channel, and you dropped out of school. Like, it was just like a couple years after starting the YouTube channel. Was there a specific moment where you were like, I'm done with school, it's all music? Or was it one of those things where you looked up and you were like, oh, I haven't been going to school for like the last couple of weeks, maybe I'm finished with that?
Well, I never missed day school. I mean, I missed days of school, obviously, but I never got my diploma, I never graduated. Since I was a kid, and not just a teenager, like a kid, I struggled in school. It's always been my biggest burden. And in high school, when the work got more difficult, and you know, I had a hard time paying attention and a hard time applying myself, and I remember always being in school and just being like, what's the point? Like, I'm trying so hard to do what these people are asking of me, and I'm getting meetings with parents and teachers, I'm taking special classes to help me, and nothing's working. And you know, in the middle of high school, I was kind of having like this crisis of, you know, like deconstructing from faith and learning about myself, and life was just taking a huge change. And it was a singular moment, you know. I do remember it was a pivotal moment, being like, what's the point of trying to work so hard at school when I don't see a positive outcome, when I don't see a beneficial outcome for myself? All I want to do is make music. This is the only thing that I care about. This is the only thing that drives me. This is the only thing that gives me any sort of satisfaction, any sort of fulfillment. Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to scrape by in school. I'm going to go because I don't have a choice. And I'm going to pretend to do my best, I guess, because at that point I was like, listen, I can't do this. I mentally, this is too much of a struggle for me. And I if I can put my energy and my focus towards what I want to do for the rest of my life, I think that's more beneficial than putting my energy and focus to something that doesn't bring me any sort of fulfillment at all. So,
well, now, do you think, looking back on it, if you could have been like in like a music school, that would have been like worlds of difference? I
don't think so. No? I just never worked well in a class setting. I have, from a very young age, I've struggled with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and it has been like debilitating on learning things and applying myself and you know, reading and writing and like all that stuff. And so I've never worked well in a class setting, and I've always
with music you lock in
creativity, you know, doing the thing that I want to do, you know. And I think now I think I could do better if I went to like a music school. I think I have the attention span to find that more interesting and more compelling, and like actually take away something from it. But when I was young, like, forget about it. You know?
well, now there was a shift at some point in time there with sort of the acoustic styles. Now I hear I might have got this wrong, but I hear I think it might have been your girlfriend at the time was listening to Nothing Nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was sort of the inspiration for the shift.
Yeah, you know your stuff. Wow. It's so funny because I forget that I've mentioned this or I've written this down, and so you're telling me this, and I'm like, how did you know that? But yeah, it was 2017, and my parents were moving away, and I had to move out and kind of start my adult life, and get a job, and I moved out with my partner at the time, and life was just taking a big shift, so I didn't have all this time to just be a musician at all times, every day, 100%, 24/7. And it was kind of like I was at a point where I'm like, man, I don't know what I want to do with music. I still loved it.
Yeah.
But it was like I was kind of at this barrier that I was trying to figure out how.
Got a plateau.
Yeah, trying to get over. And I remember like she was listening to Clarity and Kerosene by Nothing Nowhere, and I was just like, my mind was blown because I didn't know where I wanted to take music. And I found Nothing Nowhere, and I'm like, oh my god, there's this whole scene. Like, he had like emo elements, and he had trap elements, and he had like rap, but also like screams and like emotional singing. I'm like, I didn't know you were allowed to do this. And so that was just such a huge breaking point for me, because I'm like, all right, I know what I want to, I know where I want to take music. And then I found, the underground, I guess if you want to call it, emo rap SoundCloud scene. That's kind of what got my foot in the door.
No, it sort of gave you the license to sort of blend genres in a way.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, now you mentioned, like, I mean, that was around the time your parents move, and you actually moved out with them in 2020.
Yeah.
For like a year in Hawaii. That's like we were talking at the beginning. That's a huge shift from Portland.
Yeah, that is a night and day shift from Portland.
I mean, did you think for a little bit, like, you know what? I'm gonna start making sunshine reggae. Here we go. Like, it's that's a whole different world out there, man.
The thought never occurred to me to make sunshine reggae, but
not for you.
It's on the back burner for
okay.
I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, so me and my partner split up, and there's a big life change, and it was beginning of COVID. It was beginning of the pandemic and lockdowns, and I remember that first night after the, I slept in my car, in the back of my car, and then went to work the next day. And that day I was driving around in my car, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And, I was texting my mom, and she sent me a message. She says, you could always move in with us. And my first instinct was like, I can't leave Oregon. I can't fly across. I can't live somewhere else. Yeah. And I was like, I took a second, and I'm like, you are sitting in the back of your car in a parking garage because you have nowhere else to go. And I was like, why not? Why can't I move away for a little bit? And that was the moment. So
how was making music in Hawaii?
Living in Hawaii was one of the best experiences of my entire life, nice. Because I grew so much as a person there, but I also just had all of the time in the world to just be a musician again. I felt 16 again. I felt like, I had my room, no responsibilities, to just make music. And, I couldn't go out and get a job because everything was locked down, and it was harder to get a job on Hawaii because there just weren't as many jobs. And I applied places, but it is what it is. But yeah, most of that time I just spent making music in my room, and working on music and making content, and it was just so full of days to waste, just being this artist. Yeah.
I mean, did that? I'm guessing like when you came back to Portland, that was sort of it giving you new life, new fuel as an artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Coming back to Oregon was also pretty jarring. It was a huge shift because yeah, I came back to Oregon and I moved in with my roommates, and it was different from Hawaii because I had to pay rent. I had to figure out a job. I had to
Go back to
figure out,
job, yeah.
Yep, financial situation. And at the time, music was helping a little bit with stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Always a plus.
Mhm. But still, I had to figure out a job and get a car, and
Yeah. Now, I mean, was that like when you started this current album was around that time?
let me think. No.
Okay.
I was definitely just single to single.
Okay.
Back then, and just kind of working
Well,
song by song. Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit now. I mean, we talked about it, like, I mean, sort of the rudimentary process at the beginning, recording. What's the current music creation process like? Like, how do you go through? Because I mean, now you have so much instrumentation on all the tracks. Are you playing everything? Are you recording it all? Like, how does it normally go down as far as creating these songs?
Yeah. So it's all me. I'm producing everything and recording everything. And I guess now, so for the record,
Yeah.
I was writing and I was making demos and recording and trying to figure out this album. I wanted this album to be everything I had wanted it to be. And so at the beginning of this year, I took a month off, and I was just like album. And I just went every single day. I was recording and writing and making this thing exactly what I wanted it to be, which was a completely different process from how I normally do things, because I was working, I'd move from one song when it wasn't finished to a different song. And
so you're sort of that songwriter that bits and pieces. You'll get a melody and you're like, well, that's cool, and then you put it to the side, and then you do a riff and you're like, that's neat, and then you put it to the side, and then over time it normally collects.
I'd say as far as like ideas go, I do have ideas and guitar riffs in my head. And I mean, one of the songs on the album has been a demo for 3 years. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it into something because I love it so much. I've been sitting on it.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because every single song was kind of a different creative process. One of the songs was completely written on guitar before it came to the DAW, and another song was I just made the instrumental before I wrote the lyrics, and one of the songs was made on I recorded on a piano in my garage with my iPhone microphone, and then so it's so funny because all the songs were kind of a different creative process.
Yeah. And but you had a lot, well, not a lot, but you had some parts going into that month of album.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
And then it was like, I'm going to get everything finished for this album by the end of this month.
Yeah, essentially.
Nice. So now you've released 4 songs off the album. Yeah. Dancing in the Rain being the most recent.
5 songs, I think.
5.
Yeah.
Is this the this is the first full album you've released. Yes. Now, how like, I'm guessing you're a pretty big album guy relative to singles. Does it feel different being like, okay, this is the collective book here. This is a full thing coming out for the listeners.
It's night and day to releasing singles. When thinking of making music, when I think about making a song, I'm like, okay, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. And when I wrote this album, it was that creative process spread across 12 songs, 11 songs. And so it's so fun to kind of see, to drop the bits and pieces, because I'm dropping these singles and listening to them on their own is like completely different from listening to them in the context of the album. And I think that's so much fun. And it was so refreshing to get to experiment in the way of like, I'm writing these songs from beginning to end in the sense of spreading this story, spreading this vibe, spreading this feeling across multiple songs. And so when I release Forget Me and When the Summer Ends, and then I release Indigo, and I release Tired Eyes, and then Dancing in the Rain, it's like you can listen to these songs on their own and they work. But it's like I am so unbelievably excited for people to listen to it from start to finish, because that is the way I wrote it.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, I mean, that's a magic trick in itself, as far as being able to make the song stand alone and can be this amazing thing by itself, but then have these other layers that when you listen to it all the way across, you go, oh, okay, I see where this fits in. Like it's definitely hard to do. It's definitely very impressive though when you can do it. So I think the listeners should be pretty jazzed about hearing it. If you were showing the album to someone and you had to choose one of those short stories, if you had to take one song, they said, all I've got is time for one song. Right now, what would you tell them to listen to that you would think sort of encapsulates the full story the most, or maybe you get the most out of it?
Oh, no. Oh, God. Man.
I can give you, if we go two, maybe I can give you two.
Two, I'd say Forget Me and When the Summer Ends. Just the beginning of the album. I think that encapsulates kind of, because that when I wrote that, I'm like, okay, this is the vibe of the album. This is what you're in for. And I think
like it.
Those first two songs. Yeah.
Nice. Well, now, I mean, like we mentioned a couple times, so you're doing everything on these albums, or on this album. That makes it tough to like perform. Like if you get out there, what are the plans as far as performing?
Well, I did a tour last year, and it was very minimal. It was just me with a microphone on stage, which I think worked for this tour. But God, when I was up there, I was like, gosh, I wish I had a band. I wish I could put more into this. And so I think moving forward, if I were ever to perform again, and hopefully I will, I will have, I want the backing of some sort of band to play along with me, because I think that's the way the songs are made, is with a full, a full band, and
absolutely
that's the way they should be performed.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you seem like I ask guests a lot of times, because I mean, there are those artists that like the main thing they want to do is perform, and then there are those artists that the main thing they want to do is record, and then there's the artist that the main thing they want to do is just the writing process, the actual like creation of it. How much performing do you want to do? Is it a big to do on your list, or is it, if people want me to do it, cool?
Yeah, I think my heart lies with making the music. That's kind of where that's just my bread and butter. It's just I like to make the music and put it out. And I am incredibly shy. I'm incredibly nervous and anxious, and I don't do well in public settings. And as much as meeting fans and playing in front of an audience who are like enjoying the music, as fulfilling as that is,
it's exhausting.
I am so awkward when it comes to like meeting people and seeing people, and I'm up on the stage performing, and I'm like, doesn't feel like me, because I'm just me and I don't feel like anybody. And I don't know. I'm not a celebrity. I will never be a celebrity. I'll never be famous. I'll never be, I don't know. I don't ever feel like somebody that people can like, I don't know. So when it comes to performing, I just want to like, put on a good show, I guess. Entertain people, and
those people in Jakarta want to see it. They want to see it,
Well, let's make it happen.
And honestly, I was going through some of the social media, and I do, you see a pretty good amount of those comments of like, you got to tour here, you got to perform here. So
and I see him, and I want to. Touring, performing is expensive.
Oh yeah. Gotta have the right strategy.
The right strategy. But I would love to.
I'm very excited for the album. I think it from the songs that I've heard, it's fantastic. So congratulations on releasing it, Ben.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I really do appreciate you coming on and talking with us today, Ben.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing.
Yeah, listeners, make sure you check out Forget Me When the Summer Ends, January 24th. You can go ahead and pre-order the vinyl at Passion 8 Records. Right now, let's take a listen to Dancing in the Rain right here on The Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show. There you have it, Mike. Fantastic. My goodness. Days to Waste. Ben, I got to be honest. This guy, Ben, the thing that probably amazes me the most about him is, he's doing it all, Mike. Like those songs, it's all him. The guitar, the singing, most of the production on them, like that's wild. A one-man band. Yeah. I mean, you can do that now. Like there was no way you could do that back in like the 70s if you wanted to do that. Like where are you going to get the equipment and the ability to record all of those things yourself? You're just not going to be able to. But now you can do that. And like that I feel like that's a pretty big accomplishment in itself. That like you can just let somebody listen to the song and be like, that was all me. Everything. Like that's pretty awesome. Like I feel like that in itself, even if nobody listened to the song, I'd be like, that's an accomplishment. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Anyways, he's been kicking it for 8 years now, getting some traction. Super nice guy. I appreciate him coming on the show. Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, Tap 3.
Okay. Mike, you gave us a topic. Sort of had to do with what we were talking about in a previous episode, but you gave us the topic of top Brad Pitt movies.
Yes.
Top Brad Pitt movies, and you know, it's a humdinger. It's a good one. Mike, you have any honorable mentions?
I feel like we should go, just because he wasn't in a million movies, I feel like we should do honorable mentions perhaps
After. Okay, we can do it. Sure.
All right, cool.
Sure. I'll tell you this too, Mike. One of them on my top 3, I was like, that is a good movie. I gotta watch it again. I watched it last night because I was like, it's a good movie. I need to check it out. It's my number 2. You'll hear it here in just a little bit.
All right.
My number 3, Mike, we mentioned it before when we were talking about Brad Pitt movies. I think that was 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Troy is my number 3, Mike.
Yeah.
Just
great movie.
Plays Achilles, such a epic movie. You know, I mean, just massive fight scenes. I think the biggest moment in that movie is where his cousin gets killed. You know, they kill his cousin because they think it's Achilles. Right, he goes into battle. They think it's Achilles. They all follow him into battle. The cousin gets killed, and then everybody on both sides is like, "Oh, oh, this is bad. Oh, this is real bad." And then Achilles actually comes out, and it's just him, and you're like, "Oh my God, what a bad." Like, and then he kills the prince, you know, and you're just like, Jesus, that movie is he's like playing the quintessential alpha male right there. It's just you know, I mean, the line at the beginning, that man was born to end lives. Like, come on, get out of here.
It was a good one. It was definitely a good one.
Mike, your number 3.
Yeah, my number 3, Snatch. Snatch, Guy Ritchie directed or produced it. Directed, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Snatch, great movie.
Playing the weird, eccentric, like, Irish gypsy.
Yeah.
You know, Irish gypsy boxer in that movie.
Yeah.
Pretty solid, man. Plus,
One Punch, yeah.
Has a pretty good soundtrack, too.
Oh, yeah.
Has the real good Oasis song on there. It's pretty solid. That every time when he starts boxing comes on. Pretty solid.
Yeah. All Guy Ritchie movies are just killer, man.
Pretty good.
Guy Ritchie.
Pretty good.
Anyways.
Speaking of, my number 2, another one that has some pretty killer movies, not Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, man. Such a good movie.
It is, I mean, it's just, it's got a great plot, Mike. It's a fanciful tale. It's an alternate timeline, as they say, right? So it's about the Manson family murders, but what would have happened in this alternate universe, basically, with the Manson murders.
Love it.
And it's just, I mean, it's got so many, like, it's got Al Pacino in it. It's got Margot Robbie in it. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It's got Brad Pitt in it. And I gotta say, Leo, this is obviously a focus on Brad Pitt on this top 3, but Leo does his biz in that movie, man.
Yeah, he does, man.
He acts that part, you know. He's got a lot of crying scenes. There's a lot of emotion in that, and I'm like, nicely done.
I need to rewatch that one for sure.
And it's got all these actors that are now like huge names.
That's a fact.
That it was pretty much their like big break. I mean, Sydney Sweeney is in that movie. Margaret Qualley is in that movie. Austin Butler, Elvis, is in that movie.
Oh, wow. Wow.
All 3 of those are
Didn't know
now
that.
huge names, and like that was sort of their first like sort of big role was in that movie. I mean, they played small roles, but they, you know, that was a big movie that they were in, you know. So It's just it's a good one. There's a couple
Yeah.
of funny. Plus, there's so much good music in that too. It like carries through the movie. He does such a good like they're always listening to the radio, and he puts in these specific ads. Of course, he's layering the It's solid. It is.
Yeah.
It is
Quentin
a solid
Tarantino.
movie, man.
Legend. Yeah, it is.
All right, number 2 for you, Mike.
World. For me, Doc G, number 2, World War Z. World War Z. Yeah, great movie. My favorite zombie movie, I think.
Okay.
I would say it's my favorite one. I mean, all they're fast.
As I
They're
think
fast in
you're
that movie.
aware, Mike, I have no favorite zombie movies.
No.
I don't need zombies in my life.
Nope.
There's no
I
need.
do.
There's no need for
I do.
zombies in my life.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
I have heard high reviews of World War Z.
So you've not seen it?
I have not seen it.
Oh, man.
Not interested, Mike.
No.
Don't need to see death and destruction and zombies. Not for me.
Yeah, I'm
Pass.
all about it.
Pass. Mike, my final. Number 1, Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Fight Club. Just, I mean, the twist, Mike, the plot twist. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Spoiler alert, listeners, for anyone that hasn't watched this 30-year-old movie. He is the same person. It is a person with multiple personality disorder. And so Ed Norton's character is Brad Pitt's character. They are one and the same. And, like, it's just one of those things when I watched it because I was like, I forget, like 12 or something the first time I watched it. So it just blew my mind. Because, like, the whole time I'm just like, this Tyler Durden character, what a crazy character. Then all of a sudden at the end you're like, holy what? That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it just, but there's also so many good twists and turns throughout the rest of the movie, you know, just like, that's the wild thing that I love about it is the big twist at the end. It's sort of like Sixth Sense in the fact that, like, all of a sudden everything makes sense in the movie at the end. And you're just like, because there's only one person. Oh, and she said that because she was talking to one person, not two. Oh, okay. And, like, you didn't even catch those things the first time around. And you're just like,
Yeah.
damn, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good. That's good.
And-
Also, A Beautiful Mind does that.
Yeah.
With Russell
Yep,
Crowe.
yep,
Great
yep.
movie.
And just, it's just one of those, too. Like, I mean, just the epic, the visuals of Fight Club, you know, when he gets up, of course, and he's all bloody from one of the fights, and he's got the jigsaw puzzle abs, and he's got the blood running down his face, and you're just like, oh, my God, that's cool. That's cool, you know? So, it's, Fight Club, number 1. There we go. Mike, you're number 1.
Number 1, Inglourious Bastards. Which I know he's not like the
A main role.
star.
Yeah.
But it's still like, you know, he's in the movie. Same for Snatch. He wasn't like, but it's just like these movies are so good to me that I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
like,
I would say with our list here, you more so than me, but you just did quality of film overall. That's what you were ranking, not his performance. Because because with mine, I mean, you know, that's the thing is even like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he's not the main role in that. He's close, but I would say Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like a split, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's they're co lead roles, you know.
Right.
And then like with Fight Club, again, co roles. Ed Norton and him. So, you know, and with yours, definitely Snatch. He's like a sort of, I don't know, 5 lines in the movie or something like. It's not a ton, you know. Now World War Z is the main focus.
Yeah, World War Z.
Yeah.
He was the main focus in that one.
Okay, honorable mentions, Mike.
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you got?
Okay. This is I don't even remember what role he played in this movie, but True Romance, another Quentin Tarantino movie. I mean, again, yeah, you're right on the money with the quality of film. I mean, that was just a great movie. And then lastly, Interview with a Vampire. All my other honorable mentions were your top three.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, Interview with a Vampire. That one I have obviously not seen in a long time, but I might rewatch that one as well.
Again, that's one that I would say, like, I mean, he did, don't get me wrong, of course, it's a great acting job, but I would say I like Tom Cruise's character more in that.
For
because
sure.
he's the, he's the crazy vampire. So,
Yeah.
Now, I would put on my honorable mentions, I would also include Interview with a Vampire. The Big Short. That's a solid flick right there.
Yeah.
That's a solid flick.
Honestly, that was, I don't know why that's not in my honorable mentions, but yeah, Big Short's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a real good one. I mean, it's a fast mover. It's a very Adam McKay style movie. I enjoy it. And then, Mike, this is not really an honorable mention. I guess it is, but if you're looking to get absolutely depressed by a Brad Pitt movie, I would suggest The Assassination of Jesse James. Don't get me wrong. Great story. Interesting. Just depressing.
Wow.
Like at the end of it, because obviously Jesse James gets killed. Like, it's just, oh, God, it's horrible. And it could be situational for me. Maybe I should go back and watch it again, see if I get as depressed. But like, I, at the time, was just sitting by myself. Like, all my friends had gone home from college, and I was just sitting by myself watching this movie. And my roommate, Brandon, had left too. He was across the country. And it was just me in a dark room watching Jesse James get shot in the back of his head. And I was just like, this is a low point. This is like, it was so it might just be me, but it's a bleak ending. It's not like something that you get out of and go, woo, yeah, all right. Like, no.
Have you seen Seven?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That seemed like it was pretty depressing.
Oh, it's very depressing, but like it's a good movie, and you got Morgan Freeman in it, so
that's true.
Come on, that almost made my honorable mentions, Mike. Almost, Mike.
Yeah.
What is our topic for next week?
Okay, so kind of a lateral move here, but top 3 movie fight scenes.
Mike, redoing movies. Okay, we've gone into cinema here. Fight scenes.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Can this be any type of fight? What are we talking? Can this be a battle? Can this have to be punches?
I think it's got to be something like not a battle, but like,
So it has to be hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, hand-to-hand combat, but it can involve, 5 people or kind of one person moving through a bunch of different people kind of thing.
Still has to be hand-to-hand combat.
Hand-to-hand combat.
Can't be a lot of weapons.
But also, a sword fight. But yeah,
can't be guns. Can't be projectiles.
Can't be guns. Yeah, it can't be projectiles.
Can it be arrows?
Can it be arrows? No, something that has some kind of sequence, I would imagine.
No Robin Hood. Check. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Fight scenes.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Fight scenes.
Mike, we've got 2 birthday suits left here. I'm not going to give you the long drawn out on these. 1, because I didn't write it up. 2, I don't think you're going to get it. Let's see here if I can. The first one is the musician. I'm going to do the musician first.
Okay.
Born on January 1st, 1997. He's recently came into prominence with his music. His breakthrough single was "Hurt Somebody." And his debut album was Busy Head. He's also released 2 more albums, I Was, I Am, which was in 2021, and Stick Season in 2022. He was nominated for in 2023 for Grammy Award for Best New Artist. Do you have any idea who this is, Mike?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Noah Kahan. You know Noah?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, he's become really popular though, Mike. He's sort of that he's like that laid back singer, like sort of if you will, getting your feels Lisa Loeb style now, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hurt somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things where like you think, but it's like such a vague title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He not too surprising. He got a lot of popularity there because of the old TikTok. The old TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's big. People really are attracted to him because of about like mental health. Like he like writes about mental health. He makes fun of his own like mental health on social media and in his concerts. So there you go.
Maybe I should talk about going to therapy and stand up.
You know, hey, a lot of people do. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's a thing.
You know,
it's been covered.
It's definitely there. It's definitely there. Okay, Mike. Let's see if we're gonna have 0 for 3 here. This one. I don't know. You might be able to get this one. It's a big name. It's a really big name in history. You've missed some big names in history, but we're gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
January 1st, 1735. He is known for riding through Massachusetts saying, "The British are coming. The British are coming." Who is it, Mike? The Ride of who?
I don't know.
The Beastie Boys also had a song with his name in it. I don't know if that helps. Probably doesn't. But I'll give you initials. PR.
Paul.
Yes.
Why do I want to say Paul Rudd? I know that's not.
Paul Rudd is correct. Yes.
Paul Revere.
Paul Revere. There it is. Nicely done, Mike. There we go. Took a little bit. I'm going to give you half.
I appreciate that.
So we ended for a half out of 3, Mike. But you know what? It's all right because you're a dad. That's not where birthday suits are not your priority anymore. All right?
No.
You're going to get back to them. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But right now, there's a little bit of focus on some other things, right? My focus is to get Spotify to play our podcast. Your focus is a child. Which one's more important? They're pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's relative.
That's true. That is very true. Mike, we need to wrap it up, but we have some fantastic shows. Oh, my goodness. We have got Brother Ali coming on the show, just a fantastic rapper, hip-hop artist out of Minneapolis. He's now living in Turkey. That's pretty wild. And we also have the fantastic comedian Ali Sadiq coming on the show. Can't wait to talk to him as well. He's got a bunch of shows coming up here in Florida. So we're going to talk about those. Can't wait to talk to him. But until next week, Mike, we need to wrap it up. I have been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus Verticus. Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.